Hello and welcome to Bharat I'm Brig Chatterji. We'll be talking about Vietnam today, our relationship with Vietnam. And this is part of our Neighborhood Watch series. We've already had a discussion on Bangladesh, and today it's going to be Vietnam. Vietnam is a country with which we have had relations for a long time, very strong relations. These relations would go further stronger perhaps because certain threats are common. To go through the process, I have with me Vice Admiral Ravneet Singh. He's been the Deputy Chief of Naval Staff. Welcome, Admiral.
Thank you, sir.
Well, my first question to you is that, like I said, historically we've had a strong relationship with Vietnam. They also face the same kind of a threat that we face. We have salami slicing going on in various parts of Eastern Ladakh, let's say the latest. And they also have some sort of a salami slicing with the island territories. Now, what are the common threats? Can you define the common threats that we have with Vietnam?
Yes, you rightly said that we have got a historical connect with Vietnam. Just to mention that, for us, the father of the nation is Mahatma Gandhi. For them, at Ho Chi Minh, and he was known as the father of nation of Vietnam. And India headed the committee when it came to North and South Vietnam coming into one after the Geneva mandate in 1954. Now, India is facing problems from China, which everybody is aware of. And Vietnam was also facing similar problems. And I would say what you rightly mentioned is salami slicing. And when you talk about salami slicing, the first thing which comes into my mind is the territorial dispute. Now, if you look at the South China Sea, you have on the north you have Paracel Island, and down south you have the Spratly Island. And China has been advocating that majority of the South China Sea belongs to him. He quotes the 9-dash line, which has only got a historical background, and based on the 9-dash line, they are claiming the most of the South China Sea. And this 9-dash line does overlap some of the areas which are coming into the EEZ of the other countries. Now, because of this issues, now this is leading to the next problem which Vietnam is facing is maritime security. Now, because this area is claimed by China also, EEZ, so their ships and boats do a lot of harassment to the fishing boats of Vietnam and fishing other boats of other countries. Like today only I saw it in the news channel that the Chinese ships boats are troubling the Philippine boats which are plying in that area. So that is the maritime security is another problem which is because of this territorial dispute. And the next problem which they are facing is the economic coercion. Now, Vietnam depends a lot on the trade between China. So anytime Vietnam does not has any disagreement on the political or any other issue, that is the time China tries to squeeze them on this economic front. Then they have the environmental concerns also. Now, if you look at the Mekong River, the upper Mekong comes from China, and China is building dams. When they start building dams, the whole flow of water is going to get controlled. So, which is going to really affect the economy of Vietnam, the fishing industry, and on top of it, it will have a lot of environmental impact on that river and the surrounding areas, and it will cause water scarcity in that area. And last and final thing, which is the regional influence. Vietnam is quite a powerful country in that region. And now with China's growing influence, I would say China's growing heft, be it militarily or be it economically, so does put Vietnam in a slightly uncomfortable position. He wants to maintain his status, but he is a bit wary of China growing in strength.
These two island groups that you talked about, Spratly and Paracel, they have actually armed this island pretty heavily in some cases.
What worrying about these islands is that now China has started developing these islands. They have already started militarizing these islands. And about weeks ago, there was a news article that China is building one airstrip, and they're mirroring what they have done in Spratly Island, in the Paracel Island also, where they're building a airfield out there. So that Vietnam is quite worried about.
Right, to go a little further, we must have cooperated, us in Vietnam, in certain ways. Especially, I'm talking about military cooperation, training together, visits to each other. What is the kind of cooperation that's been there mostly?
We have been cooperating with Vietnam to a great extent, right from signing of a MOU on defense cooperation. Then there is a strategic, there's a vision document signed when it comes to defense cooperation for till the year 2030.
Okay.
And then we have a MOU on the logistic support. And then we have, we do a lot of training for the Vietnamese people under the ITEC. We have the ship visits, we have reciprocal ship visits. They do take part in bilateral exercises. They do take part in multilateral exercises like Milan. And in fact, a lot of staff talks do take place, and even talks for where you discuss the various operational aspects, and high-level talks and talks at the other levels also do take place at regular intervals. So there's a huge amount of interaction with Vietnam as we speak today.
In terms of training, other officers also coming to our institutions?
Yes, their officers are coming to our institution. They are coming to our staff college. They are coming to other training institutions also, and we train them well.
Right. As far as defense equipment is concerned, we are keen on exporting certain platforms that we've recently, let's say, been able to put out. What's happened? Is there a sort of a line of credit? How do we get them to be more interested in our equipment?
No, but if you look at the Vietnam, the equipment they hold, most of the equipment, I would say, is of the earlier Soviet origin or the Russian origin, and the same equipment we also use in our armed forces, Army, Navy, and Air Force. And there's a huge potential that we can cooperate with them and help them in maintenance and supplying them the spares, especially at this stage where the spares are at a premium. We, under the Atmanirbhar scheme, we have started manufacturing large number of spares ourselves, so we can help them in that aspect. But notwithstanding that, we under $100 million line of credit, defense line of credit, we have given them 12 boats, high-speed boats, which were constructed by L&T. And there are talks on for another defense line of credit of $500 million, which is being finalized. We have gifted them spares of the Petia class ships. We have decommissioned the ships, but they are still using those ships. We have given them spares for the minesweepers. And in addition that, we did help them during the humanitarian aid. We sent a ship for the humanitarian aid, INS Kiltan, and even INS Arabat during COVID. He did go there and gave them a lot of LMO, liquid medical oxygen, and oxygen concentrators. Just about a few days back, we have gifted them a missile corvette, INS Kirpan. So and military industrial defense cooperation is also on the agenda, and as and when that kicks up, I'm sure that our support to Vietnam Armed Force will go up substantially.
Right. What about this Mekong-Ganga cooperation? What does it really involve? How does it help both the countries?
So Mekong-Ganga cooperation is basically, Mekong is a very, very important river, which if you look at the river, it comes from China, then the countries through which it goes is Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand. And India, we have a very important river, Ganga, known as Ganges. So the Ganges got a historical background for us. For them, Mekong River is the river which has got a lot of huge potential for trade purposes. They use it. So under this Mekong-Ganga setup, what we have said that India will cooperate with these 5 countries. We'll help them in enhancing in bilateral trade. We'll look at increasing the connectivity. We will share the science and technology. We will help them in human resource development. We will help them in cultural exchanges. We will help them in people-to-people contact. It's basically that what we are looking at, growth of the whole region per se.
Like, as far as oil exploration goes, as I believe it, we've been working together on it for quite some time, and there have been Chinese objections also to it. If you could just elaborate a little more on that.
So if you look at the South China Sea, it has got huge amount of natural resources, be it oil, natural gas, or the seabed minerals. So it's a very, very lucrative area, and especially now with the Chinese claiming in the 9-dash line, they're staking their claims to that. And Vietnam also, to have its own energy security, to be in a more comfortable position, is doing oil exploration with the help of India, that is ONGC Videsh, OVL, which is doing that exploration. The Chinese did object to it, and they're still objecting to it. But as I understand, our oil exploration is in an area which is not being contested by Chinese. It is very, very well within the Vietnam EEZ.
So it should go on, as I said. There
Yes, it should go on.
no legal grounds really for China to.
No legal grounds in this areas.
Okay. If we switch a little bit to the quadrilateral, there are talks about expanding the quadrilateral, about having a second tier of members, perhaps. Do you see Vietnam coming into it, and how would say it will help the quadrilateral?
Yes. So now Quad is a setup in which you have India, Japan, Australia, and the United States. So what they are looking at the maritime security, and basically a free and open Indo-Pacific, which is inclusive of all. So they're looking at the development of the whole area and providing security. So Vietnam and other countries also face similar issues when it comes to maritime security and the security of the area. They also face the similar issues, and they also are very active. Vietnam is also a very active member of ASEAN, is a very active member of APEC, and so he faces similar issues. And if they are keen to join the Quad, and which I understand a lot of countries are keen to join the Quad grouping, but then it all will depend upon their request to join and the acceptance of the request by the Quad countries, because every country will weigh its pros and cons, because they all are sitting in the backyard of China. That joining Quad won't be looked up very kindly by the Chinese.
I guess so. The Chinese will be big influences in the
Yes. They have issues. Yes.
Such issues. One last question: how do you propose we take this relationship between our country and Vietnam further? How do we cement the relationship a little more tough?
No, I think as we see today, a lot of good work is happening between both the countries, and Vietnam is also, we are bridging, the bridges of friendship have really grown stronger day by day, and a lot of effort has gone in building these friendship blocks. And if you look, like I mentioned earlier, that they have a lot of equipment which is Soviet and the Russian origin equipment. We can really help them maintain that equipment at a very, very reasonable cost. Even training of the people. We can, language is a barrier, but slowly we are overcoming the barrier by training the Vietnamese people. And training can be one thing. We can help them in the human resource development. We can help them in the military building up the military complexes. Something like we have R&D in defense sector. We can help them build up R&D in the defense sector and hone up their capability and making things on their own. There's a lot of avenues which are open, and I think India is quite open to helping them in whatever sector: telecommunication, connectivity, roads, creating of dockyards, creating of industrial base. So I think India can help them to quite some extent.
Right, I'm sure we'll see a lot more cementing of the relationship in the years to come. And thank you so much, Admiral. Thank you for spending your time for Bharat Shakti.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you, viewers. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Do tune in with us, and you will find such stories which will interest you. And do go to our social media pages, like us. Thank you.